Hello, this is Gene. This is something different than I've never done this before. It'll probably be a little bit choppy at times, and I probably won't do things the right way. Before I start, I just want to say that I believe that I'm following the fair use policies when it comes to YouTube. The person behind me is Tommy Sotomayor. I don't know what to really call him. I'll say he's a conservative black commentator, almost a new type of. I would call him like a civil rights person, but a different type of approach. Normally I listen to him. I've been a subscriber to him for a while. For the most part, I think what he does is fair and telling people basically to stand up for themselves and get out of their situations. Obviously, if there's thugs in your neighborhood, you should report them. And obviously, he has 5 or 6 channels on YouTube. He's a fairly big presence on YouTube. I have 34 subscribers. I'm not going after him in any way, but he's wrong, and he's wrong on his last reporting that he did on the 2 reporters that were killed, and not because obviously the before in this and before any of you. I mean, I'm going to put his name in the title, and of course he may come back and say that I'm trying to get subscribers from him, which is bullshit, because I've been on YouTube for about 2 years and I have 34 subscribers. That's not what I'm doing here. It's something I do. I had a stroke about 5 years ago and I couldn't talk, and this helps me. It's like therapy for me, and I let my opinions out there, and some people listen to what I have to say, other people don't. And I welcome all type of debate. And normally he says the same thing. He says if you have a rational, logical type of explanation, that I don't know what happened there. Okay, it may just start here on its own. Okay, so I'm 50 years old. I'm a white man, as you can tell. I've had several black friends in my life. One of them is 6'8", and he can't play basketball, so I don't know about that stereotype for that. But anyway, I don't know what he's going to do if he ever sees this video. If he wants to come at me, that's fine. I don't really care. You can't say things and just basically say if you're white, you can't really respond to it. And I went out this morning and I was figuring out what I was going to do with this, because last night when I heard this, when I watched it, had a sour taste in my mouth. I could give a shit that he talked to David Duke a couple days ago. I could care less, because some things about David Duke I understand about the Jewish issue, and I understand why Tommy doesn't like quote unquote Jewish or Zionists and stuff. So I don't give a shit about that. What I do care about is when he groups in everybody based on the color of their skin. And we'll get into that when we talk about this video. So what he did is he did this video. It's about 18 minutes long. The first 3 or 4 minutes is the actual shooting and the aftermath about that. And he comes back and basically starts saying that nobody deserved to be killed that way except, and that's where this starts. Now today or last night he started another one, and he talked about his David Duke thing, and then he started saying that white people are still on the internet saying like gangs of white people are calling this Bryce Williams or whatever his Flanagan name was, that call him the things that racist people say, like monkey and stuff like that. So he's going on about this, and he's like, he doesn't really care that and that white people. I don't want to talk for him on this. Go to his channel. I think it's on TNN News. It was like 7:30 is the time frame on it. He's saying, he was being sarcastic in his title about asking for forgiveness from white people. So when we go through this video, I'll try to comment on it if I can. Like I said, this could be very choppy. But for me, I just want to give you a preface on me. I was born in St. Louis. I lived in a good part of my childhood in East St. Louis, which is a very diverse neighborhood. I didn't really know there was a difference, to be honest, because it was probably half and half back at that time in the late 60s on the streets, black and white people, and there was none of that. It didn't really happen. I was never been attacked by a black person in my life. I've never been threatened by a black person in my life. I lived, when we moved to Florida, we lived on South St. Pete, which is predominantly black. I went to a black middle school. I didn't go to a place till almost when I got to high school, where it was both primarily white. And then I joined the Air Force for 24 years, and I saw the best and worst in people. And there was never been, I'm not going to say a racist bone in my body. It's just, but when somebody like him who has this type of following says some of the things he says, and he basically, he becomes, and he talks about it, you know, the victimhood industry. He becomes this, and because we can't say something about the person that did to these two people. And you'll see he basically says that he's half-breed, and I guess the bad thing that was the person that killed those two people was the white part of him, because, you know, it's only white people that actually kill people in spree killings. Like, not the guy was a Dorn out in California that killed all those other people, and wasn't the people, the snipers in DC, weren't those black people? Or they don't count because they're Muslims or something like that. Anyway, he's just wrong here, and I'm going to call him out on it, and I'm going to put his name in the title, and he can come back and say, oh, you just wanted to get hits on your fucking channel. I think the most I've ever got at any of my hits is like 100 views. I'm not here for that. But he needs to be called out on it. So I'm going to start this, and like I said, it's going to be probably choppy, and hopefully I'm not breaking any rules with YouTube. He can obviously say something and get me talked off or whatever, but I'm just going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to put it out there. So here we go. Hopefully you can hear it. Maybe.
Not only are two people dead that probably shouldn't be, because there's no reason for them to be dead.
Except.
We're going to explain the except in a minute. Right now, all over social media, all over the internet, the blogosphere, wherever you think of, there are gangs and gangs of white people who are running around calling this man monkey, nigger, all this kind of stuff, and talking about him as a...
He says there are gangs and gangs of white people saying that he is a monkey and all this stuff. Does this make any sense? There's always been a sect of white people that were racist, and they will go on and say things no matter who does it. If it's a black person, they're going to call those things. That they're the same people. They've been there all the time. They weren't there after this happened. This happened before, so something like this happens, they come out there. This is nothing new. And now he's in making it more hyperbolic, saying that it's white people that are doing this. And if you look at the guy's manifesto, he said, you want a race war, I'm going to start it. Just like Roof did. To me, there's no difference between those two. One was in his 40s, and the other was 17, 19, whatever. So we'll keep going on here.
Look, there they go, killing white people. But what you haven't taken into account is, this man who killed these two white people killed two white people who he had a personal beef with. Dylan Roof, however, killed 8 black people who treated him well, who treated him with respect, who probably treated him better than any white people.
He's right, absolutely right. So I would equate this violence act by, you know, the old postal type term. These are people that he knew. However, what Tommy fails to talk about here is he had already started a EEO. Well, I think he does later on, so I'll let him say it. That there was an EEO complaint against Allison, the one person he killed. So there was some racial issues there. So if I'm a white guy and I say, well, obviously there's some racial issues here because obviously maybe she said he was a nigger or something like that, and guess what? I'm going to say that on my channel because I believe that you can be able to say the words you want to say. If she said that at him, and he felt slighted by it, and he lost his job and all that stuff, but they still settled after the event. And when you settle, he probably took away all the responsibility from the station for that. So to me, there is a racial element here. So you just can't say now it's just a postal type of thing, a disgruntled employee thing. There is some racial avenue here. I might say it's a little bit harsh to say if he was still alive that we could get him on an hate crime, but looking at the manifesto, I think he probably could. But would it happen in today's society? No, of course not. We don't have these, you know. Anyway, we'll go on.
He knew, and yet he still murdered them. Now again, your outrage over Dylan Roof was not there. Your outrage over Bryce Williams is there. But you're the same people who have your people all the time go and shoot people at jobs in which they are disgruntled. Hell, you guys are the definition of going postal. So what makes...
This is absolutely the most idiotic thing that people can say. He is basically blaming white people for the entire event. And he's blaming us that there was no outrage during Charleston. I could tell you there was outrage from me. I don't know exactly what you want. Did you want the white people to go out and march in the streets like they do in Ferguson when a thug gets killed and then loot or something? Or all the lefties that obviously you're not, you're a conservative blogger, were clearly saying that don't you remember the whole thing about the flag, Tommy? That's all part of that. There was such an outrage that things got changed at the state level. I mean, come on. I didn't even say it's not even apples and oranges. This is stupidity. And you say that you're logical and rational? Are you fucking kidding me? You're not.
Bryce Williams different to the point of where you got to start yelling all these niggers and monkeys and send them back to Africa and stuff like that. I'm going to point something out to you, dear white people. I've seen some pictures of this man. I've seen the freckles in his face.
Here we
I've
go.
seen the young pictures of him.
The stain of being white.
Mixed with the white blood that allows people to go off and kill people. So let's calm that down on this black folks doing this to white people. Because it rarely, if ever, happens. When it does, this man didn't kill some complete strangers. He didn't go like the Sandy Hook shooter and go shoot children. So let's calm that down about...
All right. There's a lot there. He has every reason to be upset, okay? We all should be upset when something like this happens. And we should talk about it. Obviously, nothing ever happens. This is a man who believes in the unfiltered Second Amendment. He would never give up his guns for any reason. If he knew that everybody on the street were killing everybody, he still would not take all his guns. Not that he should, but I'm just saying, I believe in the Second Amendment as well. But he basically says that it's the white in us that makes us more serial killers. And he doesn't have the facts in front of him. Clearly, we're the majority in the country. If you look at it from that standpoint, we're going to have more that did these serial killings. But serial killings, or more than two at one time, let's say spree killings, infect every race on this earth, and every demographic, from teenagers, which the guys in Columbine were. They were teenagers and they killed all those people, to the man and his son that was killing people in D.C., the snipers, who was a Muslim. And I don't know, maybe he doesn't think that if you're a Muslim and a black person that you can't be a serial killer or a spree killer. Several Russian, there was a guy that, now is it because the Eastern Russian that makes he's white? He killed like 25 people or 250 people. It's happened in Asia. It's happened in Africa. It's happened in Europe. This is not something that's it's not racial specific. It's when I talk about feminism and talking about domestic violence, that it's not gender specific. Everybody does it. Maybe if you look at all of the places, maybe there have been more white people per capita than black people or Asian people, but I can say there are more black people that do robberies. The idea that he's actually putting this in there, that it's the stain of the fact that he's white in him that causes this, and he expects that some white person's not going to come back on and say what you just said is so racist, so illogical, so not rational, from a man who says he is Mr. Logic and Rational. So that's the ones that really upsetted me. I mean, this goes on and on and on. And go to his, because I want you guys to listen to what he has to say, because normally this guy I think he really has the right pulse on what needs to go on in the black community. And the problem is that he doesn't like it when people that are not, even with black people, anybody that comes in and says what he said is not right. And then he basically brings this shit up because we're white people and we don't know. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not a black person, but he's not a white person. And I'm not going to sit here and say because that I have this, you know, that whole world, that one rule that you have one black blood in you, that you're black and stuff like that. This guy basically says if you have any white in you, that anything that happens to you is based because it's that white blood. I mean, that is stupidity. And for someone like him that has the influence in his community and the conservative movement, it disturbs me. It absolutely does. Now today, before I finish with this, he did come back, and he's done this many times. He does it all the time. He likes to be very sarcastic with people that disagree with him, and a lot of it's funny. You know, and he'll probably come back and say, if you white people don't want to watch me, you know, unsubscribe. But he talked about his little project, the Fathers America. I mean, I could sit there and say, well, you're the guy that said since day one, the first word that I ever saw that came out of your mouth talk about black women are the worst stewards of children in the world. And you're blaming, now I should go into it, but I'm not going to say it. It's in the 18-minute video that he talked about. He said that the reason why black people are the way they are, the violence that comes from them, is basically, I'm putting words in his mouth, but it's there. It basically because of slavery, that we basically made them that way. So all these years he's been talking about that the women, the black women in the black communities are the worst stewards of children. I guess, is that my fault as well? Is the slavery that did that as well? Or is the fact is that this great movie that you're coming out with, Father America, you're talking about there's no fathers in the community. That is almost, I'm not going to say it's uniquely a black problem, because we have it in the white community, but it's not at the same I can't say it, at the most unbelievably high levels in your own community. Tommy, and you said that white people did not donate to your movie? Are you fucking kidding me? I want you to show that your list of all the people that actually donated to your movie, and racially down, you know, the different people that did it, because I'm sure that people did. The last person that you got like the $5,000 from, I don't think he was black. I think he was white. The point is, he can be upset. I'm upset that it happened. But I never would have said because he's a black person and he has the stain of having white blood in him is why he did what he did. He did it because, who knows, he just snapped. He wrote this big manifesto, just like Ruth did, just like a lot of these guys have done. And he talks about McVeigh and stuff. These people, they get it so in their mind that they have to do it. And why aren't you talking about mental health, Tommy? We have no place to go to for men who have these issues. And you have in the past, but you just want to blame white people for this because you got, let's say, 300 people on the internet calling him a monkey, and now they're all gangs and gangs of white people. It's beneath you in so many ways, Tommy. Anyway, that's all I have. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good day.